Hello Android developers, Mohsen here, and today I want to talk about something different. This is not a tip about a library or a tool. This is about how I work nowadays. How AI changed the way I build, review, and ship Android features at work. But before I start, thank you for supporting, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. So without further ado, let's start. The reason I decided to record this video in the nature is the fact that there is a big change of scenery in software development. So a few months ago, I wrote this message on our team Slack channel that it's a very good feeling that I'm not doing all these things anymore. And it includes creating a pull request, rebasing your branch, merging master to your branch, and things like that. This is the shift. I write less code from scratch now. I spend more time guiding the agent, reviewing what it produced, and validating that it actually works. And I want to be clear, this is not a video about AI replacing developers. The job did not get smaller. It got different. I do more architecture now, more reviews, more thinking about the shape of a feature before any code gets written. The boring parts, the boilerplate, and writing the small refactor, the agent does those. So in this video, I want to share how I work, what tool I use, and what I learned along the way. First, let me tell you the golden rule. There is one rule that everything else in the video depends on. AI is a multiplier, not a reader. What I mean is this. If you know what you want, even roughly, the AI will get you there much faster than you could alone. The bottleneck is not typing speed anymore. The bottleneck is being clear about what you want. And this changes what our job is. Think about how an architect designs a building. The architect does not lay bricks. The architect does not pour concrete. The architect plans. They decide what the building should be, how the rooms connect, what the load-bearing walls are. Then they hand the plan to people who execute it. Software engineering is moving in the same direction. We do more engineering now, in the original sense of the word. More planning, more designing, more thinking about how the pieces fit, and less time on how the plan gets executed, because the agents handle that part. If you are good at planning, this is a great time to be a developer. If you only know how to type code fast, the job is changing under you. This is also a second part to the golden rule, and it is about teams. When you open a pull request now, the question is not, did you write this code? The question is, do you understand it? And does it belong in this code base? This is the bar. If you cannot defend the code in review, it does not matter who wrote it. Okay, with that in mind, let's look at the two ways people actually use AI to code. Nowadays, there are two modes. They have names now, vibe coding and agentic coding. Vibe coding is what most people start with. You open the chat, you type, build me a screen that does X, you take what comes out, and you iterate. It is great for small things, MVPs, prototypes, throwaway scripts, anything where being roughly right is good enough. Agentic coding is different. You write a clear specification first. You tell the agent the constraints, the patterns, the existing code it has to work with. Then you let it run. It takes more time upfront, but the result actually fits your code base. It does not invent function names. It follows your architecture. Now, which one you pick depends on where you are working. If you are starting a project from scratch, this is called greenfield. Vibe coding is fine in the beginning. You are still exploring, the architecture does not exist yet. Let the AI suggest patterns, see what feels right, and then move to agentic once you have decided. If you are in an existing code base, this is called brownfield. Vibe coding is risky here. The AI doesn't know your patterns, your dependency injection, your module structure. It will invent things that do not fit. In a brownfield project, you need agentic coding. You need to give the AI proper context. So the rest of this video is mostly about agentic. The methodology I use nowadays is called Spec-Driven Development, or SDD. I learned it from a course, which I will share the link in the description. Let me give you the short version. There are 3 phases. Phase 1 is the constitution. Before you write any feature code, you create a folder, call it specs. Inside it, you put these 3 files. The first file is mission.md. This is what the project is about in 1 paragraph, the core idea. The second file is techstack.md. This is what you are building it with. Kotlin, Compose, coroutines, Coin, whatever you're using. The third file is roadmap.md. This is the order you want to build things in. This is your constitution. It is the brain the agent reads before every task. The fact is that you don't need to create it by hand. You can also ask AI to generate it. You can say something like, let's create a constitution for this project, and keep asking me for any clarification you need along the way. That last part is very important. You want the agent to interview you about the project before it writes a single word of specs. Otherwise, it just guesses, you correct it, and you waste 30 minutes. Phase 2 is the feature loop. Once the constitution exists, every feature follows the same 3 steps: a specification, implementation, and validation. You write a spec for the feature, the agent reads the spec plus the constitution and produces the code. Then it validates, it runs the test, it checks the lints, it makes sure the build is not broken. You are not in the loop on every line of code. You are in the loop of a spec and on the validation. That is where your time goes now. And phase 3 is reviewing the constitution after implementing every feature, just to make sure that nothing has changed in the constitution and if there is anything to update there. This is the methodology. Now let's talk about the tools. Choosing your engine. Nowadays, I mostly use Cloud Code, and there are 2 models I switch between, Sonnet and Opus. Sonnet is my daily driver. It is fast, it is cheap enough to use all day, and it handles large Kotlin files well. For most of my interview sessions, small refactors, writing a new view model, fixing a bug, Sonnet is the right choice. Opus is the architect. I switch to Opus when I'm designing something, module structure, dependency injection wiring, navigation graphs, anything where getting it right the first time matters more than getting it fast. I also use Opus for 2 other things. Writing the SDD plans, because deeper reasoning helps when the plan has to be correct, and reviewing pull requests, where I suppose there is subtle logic bugs that Sonnet might miss. So Sonnet for speed, Opus for thinking. That is the simple rule. Now let's talk about how to actually ship faster, not just write code faster, because these are not the same thing. The first habit is break big pull requests into small ones. This is something that AI do very greatly. When you let the agent do a lot of works, it is tempting to put everything in one big PR. Do not do this. 5 small PRs get reviewed and merged faster than 1 huge one. And the risk of something going wrong in production is much lower. The second habit is review pull requests truly and quickly. AI did not make code review less important. It made it more important. The third habit is resolve every comment on your pull request. Do not leave the thread hanging. Either change the code or explain why you disagree. This is communication, and it does not get easier just because the AI is faster. And the fourth habit is what I call the multi-AI layer. I use Cloud Code locally while I'm writing the code. Then on GitHub, I let Codex and Copilot review the PR automatically. Now let me quickly run through the tools I use every day. I will go fast. All the links are in the description. First, voice control. I use Whisperflow. I speak my prompts instead of typing them. It is much faster than typing, and after a few days, it feels completely natural. Second, terminal and editor experience. There is a tool called Cloud Code Status Line that shows you which model is active, your context usage, memory, all in one bar at the bottom of your terminal. There is another tool called Vibe Island that adds a small visual indicator to your menu bar. Both are small things, both save you context switches. Third, context providers. This is where MCP comes in. MCP is the Model Context Protocol, and it lets your agent talk to other tools. Jira, Figma, GitHub, your internal services. Fourth, plugins. Cloud Code now has a plugin system, and there is a plugin called Superpowers that gives you ready-made workflows. Brainstorming, writing plans, executing plans, test-driven development, semantic debugging, code review. Each one is a small skill the agent can use. And fifth, domain expertise. Google released Android CLI. You just have to initialize it, and now your agent knows all the Android skills. You drop them into your project, and the agent suddenly knows Android the way an Android developer knows Android. So this was my nowadays toolkit. Another thing I learned it in a hard way was do not stepping on the agent foot. This is the most important section of this video. If you remember only one thing, remember this one. Do not step on the agent's foot. It has 4 parts. First, let it finish. When the agent is working, do not interrupt it. Do not check the code halfway through. Do not start fixing files while it is still running. Let it finish its task completely before you look. I see developers, mostly in AI interviews, do this all the time. The agent starts working, the developers get nervous, opens the file, make a small change, and now the agent's next step is based on a state that does not match what it remembers, and chaos follows. Second, do not manually fix things. If the agent did something wrong, do not jump in and fix it yourself. Tell the agent what is wrong and let the agent fix it. This is the architecture mindset again. You hand off the plan, let the builder build. If something is wrong, you tell the builder, and you not do the job yourself. Third, iterate. If the first attempt is not right, ask again. Be more specific. Add the context that was missing. The agent is not insulted. It will try again, and the second or third attempt is usually much better than the first. Fourth, memorize. When you finally land on a solution that works, ask the agent to remember it. Save the pattern, save the approach, update your constitution or your skills file. Because the next time you hit the same problem, you do not want to start from zero. Let it finish. Do not manually fix, iterate, memorize. 4 simple things, and they will save you hours. AI coding is not magic. Things go wrong. Let me show you the 4 most common problems. First, hallucination. The agent will sometimes invent functions that do not exist, or claim a file has something it does not. The fix is give it more context and verify before you trust. Second, memory. Running AI tools on your machine is heavy. I have Cloud Code, Codex, Cursor, and a bunch of other things open at the same time, plus Android Studio. And my machine runs out of memory a lot of time. You can always use Cloud Code in your terminal and keep Android Studio closed until it's done, and then open Android Studio and verify if everything is working as expected. Third is disk space. Models, caches, logs, work trees, they add up. Fourth, CPU. When the agent is running in the background, your CPU is busy. If you're also doing a video call or building the app in Android Studio, things get slow. These are not deal breakers. They are just the reality of working with the AI tools in 2026. So this is all the tools and experience I'm using nowadays with AI. And in the end, I want to ask you something. Now that the agent does the typing, what are you doing with your extra time? Are you reading more? Are you reviewing more carefully? Are you thinking about the architecture in a way you did not before? Or are you just opening 5 PRs in parallel and stressing about all of them? Please write in the comments. I read all of them and answers are genuinely useful to me too. This is it for this video. If you liked it, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button to get a notification whenever there is a new video. All the tools and links I mentioned are in the description. The link to the SCD course is there too. Highly recommended. See you soon in another Android developer video. Bye.